agree because it wasn't based on the logic that they themselves argued. It was based on something far higher and greater than the logic that they themselves give, and it's recorded in the Talmud. In matter of fact, the Talmud states that when there is an argument between the great sages of the Mishnah or the Talmud states, Elu v'elu, both opinions are the words of God. Elu v'elu, both opinions are the words Divrei Elokim Chaim, are really the words of God. This seems to be a very powerful statement, that although the rabbis, whatever is recorded, is not their spiritual experience, but what they explained and with a logical answer, yet the Talmud says none of those opinions are wrong. Both opinions, even if we're going to follow only one opinion, both opinions are divine and are the words of God. And this brings us into a whole new idea, that the issue between when rabbis argue, and how could it be that both are right when one is saying the opposite of the other? And the answer is that they're talking from their experience, from their spiritual experience, and therefore they probably are on two different levels. So when one rabbi says something and it's based on his experience, and another rabbi says something and he totally disagrees, and he says it's the law is in a different way, how could they both be right when one is saying contradicting the other? The answer is they're both on two different levels. On one level it might be kosher, on another level it's not kosher. Given us a simple explanation, is we would say if two people are having had a spot on their clothes, if it was on jeans, it's not so bad. But if it's on a wedding gown, if it's on a beautiful suit, then a spot makes a big difference. Now the two rabbis who, if one rabbi was more strict and he says it's not kosher, and another rabbi says it is kosher, they both are saying what they experienced, but they are experiencing two different levels. The level that says it's not kosher is coming from a more strict point of view because it's a higher level, and on a higher level it's not kosher. Where the other rabbi is experiencing something, but he's on a lower level, and therefore on that level could be more leniency, and it could be kosher. So in other words, Jewish law is based on divine experience. It is not based on rationale. And therefore, when they are arguing, you're dealing with both are saying the words of God. So therefore, both are right. Halacha, when we decide, as the Torah says, you go according to the majority of opinions, the issue is not to try to find out who is right. They both are right, because they're both seeing, experiencing a spiritual revelation. The issue of halacha is which of the two opinions does God warn us to follow? Because we are not on either level, the level of one rabbi and the level of the other rabbi. We need to know which of the two opinions does God warn us to follow. And God says that the way I will inform you of which way should you follow, which way the majority will turn out to be. When we go according to the majority of opinions, you're really not proving or disproving the other point of view. But if the majority of opinions are like one way, we follow that opinion. This means that God is saying, I will somehow inform you which of the two opinions, not as which of them are right, but which opinion is the opinion that we should follow. So God says, if it'll be the majority will turn out like one way, then that's my sign that I would like you to follow that opinion. To go into this a little deeper, to follow an opinion is much more than just studying an opinion. Because the practice of the mitzvot is not just following a command, but when we follow a command, we actually change the physical object. When a mitzvah is performed, we actually change the physical object that becomes now a holy object. And to take this special power to make something that was physical, and a physical command should become a holy object, following a command like the mitzvah of tzitzis or the mitzvah of tefillin, phylacteries. First it was just a piece of leather or a strap, and now when tefillin are made and they are put on a person's arm and head, the physical straps and the physical leather box becomes a holy box. In order for something to become holy, it has to come from the essence of God, who could do the impossible and give the power to man, that when he follows this commandment, he transforms the physical into the spiritual. It becomes a godly object. And that is halacha. Halacha means it comes from the essence of God, and the essence of God has no limitations, and therefore he can take something physical and turn it into something holy. So when it says in the language of the Talmud, Elu va'elu, both opinions are the words, if you look carefully, the Talmud uses God's name Elokim. As we know that God has two names, the name that we don't even pronounce, and only in the Holy Temple did the Kohen Gadol pronounce God's name. And then there is the name Elokim, where the name of Elokim comes from the word Elokim is concealment. It's the way God is concealed. As we find in the beginning of the Torah, the first time God's name is mentioned is in the first sentence of the Torah, Bereshis bara Elokim. Elokim is the way God is concealed. You don't see and you don't feel the essence of God. So when the Talmud says that when two great rabbis argue and they both are divine, it's carefully written they are both the words of Elokim Chaim, of the living God, but which name of God? Elokim. But when it comes to halacha, it uses God's name, the name that we don't even mention, which represents the essence of God. The essence of God is with the opinion of halacha, and therefore halacha is not who is right, which is the right way. There is no wrong way if it comes from God. But which is the way that has the power not only to follow, but which way can change the physical world? Because if we'll follow that opinion, it's not just going to be following rituals. It's going to have an incredible impact on the physical world, that the physical object in what we do, the mitzvah, becomes a holy object. That could only come from God's essence. And that's the issue of halacha. If the majority of opinions turn out to be like one rabbi,